We killed their commander, and we're killing a lot more, and the Israelis' intelligence on the ground is unbelievable. Hopefully that leads to grabbing that uranium out of some of those destroyed sites. Maybe that'll be something that'll be announced shortly. I just wonder how soon until we decide to grab that Kharg Island, where 90% of all the Iranian oil is shipped. We have that. You want the ultimate leverage. We have it.
There it is on the map.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that that's something the president's talked about since the 80s. Everyone knows it, and that would really get their attention. I also think it's interesting that our Marines are coming to town, and they might be, one of the things they might be doing is grabbing an island. Not just the Kharg Island, there's a Qeshm Island, and there's the Kish Island.
Does that mean boots on the ground?
Well, it would be boots on the ground, kind of goes around it. If you're on an island, you're not really in Iran, you're on an island controlling the infrastructure.
Brian Kilmeade, a host over at Fox News, has been working overtime to push for American boots on the ground in Iran, something that is wildly unpopular, not just with the left in America, not just with independents, but based on polling, also very unpopular with the right. Now, once we get those boots on the ground, which I think is definitely gonna happen, the real question is, are these conservative voters going to pretend like suddenly they're in favor of jeopardizing the lives of our soldiers on behalf of a war that Israel has wanted, Benjamin Netanyahu particularly, for 40 years? The real question is, why aren't they fighting their own war? Why do they keep dragging the United States into it? Cenk, before I give you more details on this, your 2 cents.
Yeah, so he makes an interesting point there. Does it really count if it's an island? Because if you put ground troops, I mean, it looks like they're on the ground and that is Iran's territory, but it's just an island. And the Japanese agreed. That's why they said Pearl Harbor shouldn't have counted. Hawaii is just an island.
Yeah, I mean, robbing a bank? Okay, if you do it on an island.
Yeah, it doesn't really count, okay? So guys, later in this story, after Anna gives you the facts, I'm gonna detail for you exactly how they're going to get us to use ground troops, the excuses they're gonna use, and they think they're gonna create loopholes, etc. And then later, we will play that clip for you like weeks from now and months from now and show you that it was exactly right. Why? Because there's a script. I'm gonna tell you about the script after Anna gives you the facts.
Now, before we get to the various scenarios in which ground troops would be used in Israel's war against Iran, I do want to go to this next video featuring Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who makes it abundantly clear, oh yeah, there will be American troops on the ground. Take a look.
It is often said that you can't do revolutions from the air. That is true. You can't do it only from the air. You can do a lot of things from the air, and we're doing, but there has to be a ground component as well. There are many possibilities for this ground component, and I take the liberty of not sharing with you all those possibilities.
Okay, so there you have it. This war can't be fought from the air. You're gonna need boots on the ground. Israel would never send their own soldiers to fight this war against Iran. So that means that American soldiers are very likely going to fight this war and risk their lives. So Brian Kilmeade, might get his wish. Now, according to anonymous sources who spoke to Reuters, the Trump administration is in fact considering 3 possible scenarios. One of them involves deploying troops to the shorelines of Iran to secure the Strait of Hormuz, deploying troops to take control of Kharg Island, where 90% of Iran's oil exports are located, which, by the way, okay, if that goes badly, you have to keep in mind, right now the United States is allowing Iran to export oil in order to alleviate some of the economic pain of the limited supply of oil and gas as a result of oil and gas infrastructure being destroyed in the Gulf. So anyway, the third scenario is this: deploying troops to retrieve highly enriched uranium from inside Iran. Let it go, please let it go, please let it go. This was never about nuclear weapons. So stop pretending like this is about nuclear weapons. Let it go. We all know what this war is about. This war is about Israel's desires to topple a regime, and that's it. So why are you gonna risk the lives of our soldiers to go searching for enriched uranium that Israel actually doesn't care about at all? What are we doing? Anyway, on the one hand, according to the sources that Reuters spoke to, the Trump administration allegedly is not thinking about immediately deploying troops. I don't believe them. Because on the other hand, the sources said the discussions on US reinforcements go beyond the arrival of an amphibious ready group next week in the Middle East with an attached Marine Expeditionary Unit that includes more than 2,000 Marines. Goody. And per the Wall Street Journal, the Marine Expeditionary Unit is composed of ground combat unit of Marine infantry equipped with armored vehicles and artillery, an aviation unit of MV-22 Osprey tilt rotor aircraft, I totally know what that is, helicopters and jet fighters such as the F-35B, a command team that coordinates the unit's movements, and a logistics battalion that provides essential support. So anyway, there will be boots on the ground. So exactly what Trump promised, swore up and down would not happen. It's gonna happen.
Yes, okay. So Netanyahu mentioned ground troops, so it's over. When Netanyahu orders ground troops, there will be ground troops. Now, good news for people who watch this show, or people who like it, people who hate it, because we do these so-called predictions, just so you know if we know what we're talking about or we don't know what we're talking about. Can you trust us or can you not trust us? So if it turns out we don't do ground troops, you guys come back and say, see, you guys didn't know anything. And this idea that Israel controls America, absurd. That Netanyahu controls Trump, absurd. No, you said he wanted ground troops and you saw it with your own eyes, but America didn't give it to him. But if we do put in ground troops, just like Netanyahu just ordered us to, begin to understand that we might be right about this. Now, I'll go much further. Now, I know exactly what they're going to do. How do I know it? Because there's a script, guys. So Israel puts out talking points to politicians and the media, and they tell them, here's the propaganda you should do. So first of all, we're likely to go on to islands like Kharg Island. Why? Because I already see the politicians and the media figures telling us, well, Kharg Island doesn't really count, other islands don't really count. So that's not really ground troops. That's their way of easing you into ground troops. And then they're gonna say, well, we did destroy their nuclear facilities, but they still have some enriched uranium. So we're gonna have to put in ground troops to go get the enriched uranium. There's no other way to get the uranium. You will see that all over your television by reporters pretending to be objective and news anchors, and you will see it from politicians pretending to be your representatives. And then they will send our boys to go die in Iran on behalf of Israel.
And women.
And women as well. And after they do all this, and you see me saying this today, and we'll replay it for you after it happens, then understand, wait, how did we know ahead of time? Because there's a script. They literally coordinate with the Israelis on what to say all over American media and what to get their dogs in American politics to say, to lie to their own voters to get Israel's objectives in this country. Now you're gonna get to find out who's right and who's wrong. We're telling you well in advance what's going to happen. And when it does, you'll see the whole thing's coordinated. The point of this entire operation is to get America to spend all of its money and its ground troops helping Israel destroy all of their neighbors so that they could be a regional and even global superpower. And how do I know that? That's literally what Netanyahu said a week ago. He said, once we destroy them, we will be the sole regional superpower and we can do whatever we want in the Middle East, and we'll even be a global superpower. Well, it's an easy way to do that if you make Americans pay the bill, both in our treasure and our blood, and that is definitely what Israel's doing to us right now. And by the way, one last thing, Anna. Isn't it weird that not a single representative other than Ro Khanna and not a single member of cable news or mainstream media has discussed the possibility of, wait, why doesn't Israel put in the ground troops? That's not even discussed or debated. It is forbidden to talk about that. When I brought it up on Piers Morgan, immediately everybody started shouting. And no one would answer the question. Why doesn't Israel put in the $200 billion instead of America? You're not even allowed to discuss that in Washington. Yet our reporters are objective. That didn't occur to a single political reporter. They didn't ask a single US politician. No, the whole thing is rigged and it's super obvious.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.